I've always felt different. I've always seen things, but when I tried to express them as a child, I was always told to ignore it.
There were people that I didn't know that came to me and said, I have this message that I keep getting that I have to deliver to you.
All of a sudden, out of the shadows, a homeless man just jumped right in front of me. And he said, I'm a soul just like you.
I love it.
I wanted to understand the universe and who and what we are and what are we doing here.
Well, we're all part of this amazing soul wave tapping into each other.
This was a major life changer.
You are a light. You have helped me a ton. Thank you.
You've given me the courage to live more from my soul.
Millions of people are awakening. So wake up with Michele Meiche. Be pleased to hear the best-selling authors and experts in the fields of cutting-edge self-help, personal growth, metaphysics, and spirituality. The soul path of awakening. Understand what living awake is.
Oh, yeah. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. I'm here, gang. A little late starting up. I got stuff that I do in the morning. And the chat is not opening. It's just going round and round and round. Oh, my God. I tried to open it earlier. Hey, everyone. If you're new to this podcast, howdy, I'm Michele. And looks like we're having some technical difficulties with the chat. It's just, I've refreshed it a couple times. Let's see what's happening here. Chat. It's just processing. Let's try it again. You can listen by phone, 347-539-5122. Press 1 on the keypad, 539-5122. Well, 347 is the area code, 347-539-5122. Press 1 on the keypad if you have a question, a comment, or you want a reading. So those that normally listen in the chat, I know you can listen also by, well, not just phone, but internet. So, not necessarily in the chat, but I think it's through the, through the internet somehow. I haven't done it in so long I've been here, but I know there is a way to listen via computer without being in the chat. Okay? So those of you that are normally in the chat, I miss you. I hope my sound is great. I miss my compadres, mi amigas de la alma, my soul friends. Can't see you in the chat. The chat really anchors the energy, but we'll see. I'll try to periodically refresh. I can't reboot, otherwise I'd have to in the episode. So I will see. Yep, it's just going round and round and round. It's so weird. I was listening to this show earlier today, and it was saying you may have internet trouble. And look what's happening, gang. The chat's not opening. So anyway, welcome to Wisdom Wednesday, where we're going to dive in. I love seeing everyone in the chat. I just have to feel your energy, I guess, just connect into the subtle energy. Again, if you did have a question or a comment, that number is 347-539-5122. Press 1 on the keypad if you have a question, a comment, or you want a reading. Just want to make sure, because we have a lot of people listening by phone, but maybe you would normally be in the chat. So, want to also keep extending the invite to connect with me on Soul Insights and Tarot on YouTube. Also, the Awakenings with Michele Meiche podcast on YouTube. We're going to be expanding there. It's looking like March, probably springtime for new beginnings. And, some of you have, and it's been so cool because you've left me comments or about certain podcast episodes, and we are uploading some of the new episodes, but also some of the oldies but goodies. So if some of you, especially new to this podcast, and you've listened to some oldies but goodies, and you're like, oh, this should be on YouTube, just let me know, and we will upload it. Okay, also, gang, before we dive in, I just have to extend an invite to the Patreon Soul Path community. So if you're wanting more support, you want to know more about the soul, what is the soul, the nature of the soul, what we're doing here, what your soul path and purpose is, or how to actualize your soul gifts, your soul's purpose, your purpose for being, but also do a deeper dive into metaphysics, spiritualism, which not a lot of people teach spiritualism, metaphysics, and the occult. We've really doing a program now that's a little more tailored, but I like to leave it wiggly room that way that the people that are in the community can share their insights or what works for them or also what they want to see. And especially if you're with the Soul Path Journeyer tier, we meet monthly. We have a metaphysics and spiritualism salon. And we're getting the advanced, I would say, deeper dive basics of understanding and how to read and navigate this new energy. I will be sharing more also of the shamanic side of things. So basically I'm using all of my tools in my training and also the information that I receive from the guides and the oversouls and tuning in to spirit. So there'll be videos just predicting, forecasting what's coming up so that people have, an understanding and more of a heads up. And I just have to say I've really been inspired. Some of you have been, in the monthly connecting, our meetup. But the questions, the insights, the way the information and insights are being applied and the way people are really listening, living more in the gap, I tuned into that this morning in my meditation, and it's all about the gap. All about the gap, the deeper dive into the gap and understanding the gap and not fearing it and not trying to get caught in busy work. This doesn't mean you don't have to, that you're not busy. It doesn't matter what's going on or how busy you are in your life. The pause is there. The gap is there. That is the void. That's the place of potential. And that's truly where we manifest the higher vibrational frequency of our soul expression, of what is, meant for our soul. I did have a question I wanted to get to. If somebody has any, I am going to get to callers. I had a question. I'm going to answer it here first and then maybe post elsewhere. But I had a question on soulmates, and it's a really good question about, not everybody, there's different types of soulmates. If you have any lengthy time period with someone, they are part of your soul group, soul tribe. Now, what level, right? Everything, and people are learning this in our Patreon group and then also, other courses that I've done through Union, the soul-centered living, umbrella that's there. So everything I'm gearing into different ways is to really help the actualization of what's coming up in the next few years, and especially the huge, huge change. It starts around 2025 and really gains momentum into 2027, 2028 for another huge turning point in 2030. So we're in a timeline for some even, fundamental changes that begin in 2050. But we will notice which when you're at 2050 and you look back, you'll think, oh, that's a small change. But all change starts in small increments, and then there's exponential leaps. And one of the things that people are really realizing right now is that that I've been working with and connecting with and walking the path with is that they do make a difference, that their individual life, their frequency, their vibrational, and whatever they're doing is making a change. And so we are trying to speed some certain things up, change the trajectory of some things that are going on. This is why you're seeing a lot of distractions right now in the world, a lot of fear-based stuff, especially around aliens and balloons and all of this kind of stuff. I've had experiences with aliens, other dimensional beings from other, not only dimensions, but other non-terrestrial beings, let's say that. Like my mom used to say, Michele, you don't have to fear the spirits. It's the people that are embodied. She didn't say embodied, but she said, the humans, the people. Trust me, you don't. I mean, the spirit, all of that, aliens, schmalien, that's the least of our concern or worries. And if you just are doing your life aligned, you're right where you need to be. There's nothing, nothing cataclysmic that's going to happen from that source. But there are a lot of fear tactics right now that are being levied, and about war and this and that. And you have to remember, and even science, and I'm going to go back to the soulmates, even science has shown this, that positive thoughts are stronger than negative thoughts. The problem is, because the vibrational frequency, well, this is me from a metaphysical standpoint, the medium range of mainstream consciousness, the mainstream world that lives in the beta consciousness, is gossip. And gossip is important. It's I know it sounds silly, but it's a lower rate or lower harmonic, and I don't mean better or worse, but lower harmonic of Gemini. It's a way for people to connect. Oh, did you hear about so and so? It's also, and a lot of sociologists talk about this, that it's a way to check and see who's safe. We feel people out by either talking about other people or other people talking about other people. We get kind of the lay of the land of who has what kind of reputation. So it comes from a tribal, survival kind of aspect that our reputation precedes us, so we get an idea of, do I want to go in that direction or not, right, or what's going on. The problem is when people stay there, because it's the realm of the concrete mind, which I'm not going to get into here, but we've been talking about that on Patreon. The concrete mind, which is not very flexible or flexible at all. As you get in higher octaves of the mental realm, there's the lower, mid, and higher mind, or divine mind, the universal mind, God mind. Then there's much more mutability. There's many more options as to what can happen in your life or in a particular relationship. And so we're being moved up in octaves, in vibrational frequency, in energy input and output, to have not only multidimensional or parallel living and drawing ourselves from other dimensions to us in the present, but also to live out and feel, but quickly, like a fast computer, to process what is that option. Oh, no, that's not where I want to go. Oh, okay, that option is better. So to have foresight, that is a gift or an ability that's going to be coming. We have hindsight, but we're going to be having foresight. There's no reason not to have foresight, right? You get it? So we've had hindsight, right? Hindsight is 20/20. Well, so is foresight. So as we raise in vibrational frequency, our awareness, our understanding, we're able to extend or expand in through the higher self to connect into God consciousness, which just means less filtered energy, less filtered perception. That's all we're talking about. We're just talking about the lens is clearer. And that's why you have foresight that you don't yet understand from a logic or rational point of view, but from an intuitive, sensing, feeling point of view, and a snapshot, which could be mental, that you get a snapshot of something, and then you get to see if it plays out or not. Again, this is a lot about mutability, being able to be more mutable. It's kind of the name of the game right now. So, what I wanted to share really quickly, then we're going to get on to callers. 347-539-5122. Press 1 on the keypad. That's the number. Press 1. The question about soulmates. We have different soulmates that are of different vibrational frequencies. So it's kind of like a pie, and if you look at what's in one layer of the pie, or cake, let's say there's ganache in there, some kind of wonderful raspberry filling or chocolate ganache in the center, that there's the flower, or let's say maybe it's a flourless cake, but there's something in the center, right? And there's the frosting. And then it might be more dense towards the rim of the cake. So some people we attract and connect with could represent or be aspects of our denser frequency, what's falling off, falling away, or what needs to heal or be moved on from. Some are representing where we are. They're supportive of where we are and where we're going. And others are where we are going. So it's possible to pick soulmates or attract soulmates that are more of the higher vibrational resonance and frequency of you. It's possible to be also pick soulmates or be attracted to, or it's part of your dharma, your learning to share. Pick those that are more trauma-based, or what we call from trauma bonding. That they're representing the traumas in your life and you're replaying a pattern. And some people are meant to get out of that pattern and some people are not. I mean, that's where the wisdom is and that's where you apply yourself. So everything is a pattern. Everything is a matrix. We're a divine matrix. Sacred geometry, a note. Beyond the concrete mind or limited consciousness of the human existence is an infinite design, a matrix that is beyond what could be calculated, let's say, because it's infinite. We can get to certain calculations and understandings, but then as we get more into source energies, it's much more uncalculable, right? We can't calculate it. So it's up to us to see and connect to our higher self, the extended aspect of our being, to take an overview as to what we're attracting, what is it representing. And definitely you will notice, especially if you've done a lot of inner work, repatterning, you're going to see that you are attracting differently. You're magnetizing differently because you're transmitting differently. You're broadcasting different signaling, different complex vibrational frequencies, energies, tone, wavelengths, which means that your thoughts, beliefs, your ideas, your way of navigating in the world, that's all thoughts and beliefs are, is ways of navigating in the world. It's a mental construct map. So you attract differently. So a lot of people say, well, I'm waiting for my soulmate. Well, you may be attracting soulmates, so you've got to look and see what soulmates do you want to bring in. You know, when you're at a job or work, you know, and you're with a group of people, there's a soulmate. They're part of they're serving a function. They're part of your form or formation, the information of what you need maybe to heal. This is why I always look around wherever I'm going and what I'm attracting. And shout out to Blue Note Cafe Buna, who gave me a free coffee for Valentine's Day yesterday. It was so sweet. It's a very high vibrational frequency, this particular Blue Note that I go to. Some of you also know Blue Stone Cafe. I go, similar. The other day we're there and we're talking about kindness and grace. And it's not forced. And I'm looking and I'm going, these people are light workers. See, a lot of times we think light workers are, they do Reiki or they do readings or they have a podcast like my podcast. No, there are many ways that light workers wield their light. And that's the consciousness of understanding your soul's purpose and path, is that you're doing it no matter where you are. And the more you consciously do it, the more you harness that universal frequency energy or God, the all that is energy. It literally amps your energy. You become really the vehicle, the vessel. But there has to be knowingness. Knowing yourself, your truth, your understanding, your good points, bad points, your foibles in life, mistakes, your ups, your downs, your strengths, your weaknesses, all with love and compassion. The more you can understand yourself, the less blind spots you have. Now, we're all going to have blind spots. We're all going to have areas that are less conscious. Believe me, I have my own. And some of them I'm quite aware of, and some I'm like, ooh, didn't know that was there. Or maybe someone points something out to me, which I always appreciate. So it's time to clear the lenses. It's time to clear the compass, the inner compass, the inner GPS, the signals, the static that we've had. Because all we're talking about in awakening is becoming less diluted energy, potency. It's about living more potent. But with that comes responsibility, right? Because someone could have a lot of potency and misuse that power. Well, that ability, because that was part of the glamour realm, is going to be lessening. Why? Because when there is more potency, there's less dilution, we see the transparency. That's the path that we're in right now. Talks about it even in human design, the path of transparency and insight. So as we become more transparent, that doesn't mean we're always going to have, secrets. It's not about that. It's a vibrational thing. It's an intention thing. Do I mean you harm? Because that's why we have the ego created. Do you mean me harm? Or do I mean myself harm? I better stop these certain behaviors and just keep the status quo, so I don't ruin my life. But when we're no longer living that way, we're much more transparent. Intimacy. I see into me, I see into you, you see into you, you see into me. My intentions are transparent. I'm getting my signal is broadcasting clearer. I'm more in harmony with myself, more in resonance. There's more coherence within me. So that I'm guided by my own personal flow and how my personal flow aligns to the universal flow through people and situations, that I'm not trying to manipulate my flow. I'm understanding my flow and using my particular energy, because the flow is your vibrational frequency. It's your soul signature frequency and the resonance that best aligns and matches to that. So this is what we're talking about, is we're more potent. We're sending out a clearer signal, right? We're broadcasting much more clearly, and therefore what we're getting, so as a transponder both broadcasts and receives a signal. So as we're able to do that more, we're getting more and more of the situations, people, circumstances, options, opportunities, and experiences that are much more aligned to our soul. And that's a different game. It's much less hit or miss. So that will also change the soulmates that we attract, the type of soulmates, and how we are able to call in soulmates, and how we're able to recognize, wow, I'm getting exactly what I need right now. Or sometimes we don't know what we need. So the external world can show that, what our inner world is needing. Oh, I need nurturing. Oh, I need guidance. Oh, I need this. Oh, I need support. Oh, I need freedom. Oh, I need fresh air. Whatever it is. It's hard to always know what you need, because it's such an internal focus. Sometimes it's so deep, it hasn't yet, revealed itself to us. But it always has externally in the metaphysical axiom, if we have but the eyes to see and the ears to hear, beyond the physical eyes, beyond external hearing, which means the third eye focus. All right, Soul Lights, 347-539-5122 is the number to call. And let's get to callers here. Hi, you're on air. Oh, I hope let's see if that's... Oh, goody, it's working. Goody. Hi, you're on air.
Hi, this is Kate.
Hey, Kate, hi. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you.
You're welcome.
am going to Mexico, and I'm excited for it, but it's in a short amount. In just a couple weeks, I have to buy a plane ticket right away. And in general, I always find myself like searching for too long. Like I'll find a deal. If it's a hotel, if it's an Airbnb, if it's a ticket, I'll be like, oh, that looks good, and then I'll like look at 5 other airlines and 5 other Airbnbs, and then I'll go back and that deal will be gone. So that's just kind of, I'm becoming aware of that. What can I do to hit the target? You know what I mean? Just like, that's it, bam, I know it, and I'll buy it. Or do it, or whatever, apply for that job, or whatever it is.
So first of all, look at it. I would say for you, write down like the 3 top ones that you've been looking at, right? And then see which one you're drawn to most, which you keep coming back to, and just in your mind, just say, okay, this is perfect for me. The right situation and circumstances, even though I can't see it, is in this choice, and then move on. Yeah, because what I feel you're wanting to do, and I get it, is you want to have the perfect experience. You're trying to create this experience, and then it's like, well, is it going to be here, or is it going to be there? Is it going to be this one, or is it going to be that one? But so in understanding that, pop it up to the higher self that, okay, even though I don't know what it is or how it's going to be, the perfect experience is there for me in this choice. And then you have to do a pattern interrupt. You have to do a distraction, which means you have to do something else and let it go. You can't stay thinking about it in your mind. Because, see, the ego mind will always, I call it ping-ponging. It ping-pongs back and forth.
Right. So I have to hit buy. I do a pattern interruption of waiting too long. I don't purchase it. I don't pick it fast enough.
Yeah. Okay. You don't want to leave the site then, is what you're saying. You have to buy it then. But I don't. That's my habit, is I'll find what I do like. Yes, this is great, the right price and the right thing, and I don't reserve it. And instead I keep looking for another one. Reserve that one no matter what. If you're feeling like this is the one that I want, reserve that and then do the mantra. I don't do that, but I don't do that. That's what I'm asking, is how do I change that habit? I'm telling you. Sometimes it's like somebody saying, I never get to the gym. How can I get to the gym? Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? You have to be willing to try. Well, you have to just go to the gym, right? Sometimes on the earth plane, you have to do something. In other words, for you, this is what I'm trying to tell you, if you don't do it that way, you're going to stay stuck in your head. In other words, if you say, I'll come back to that, you're going to find another one and another one. So how can you look at that and say, this is the perfect choice for me? You know, I'm drawn to this. See, you have to get out of your head. Your ego is what's going on. Well, what I heard you say was step away and walk away from it. So that's I interpret that to mean don't purchase it at that time. That's how I heard you. No. Purchase it and then do the mantra and then walk away. Get away from the computer. Okay. Don't go. Don't go back. That's the point that I meant. Perfect, Kate. Yeah. Now, if you're looking at things and you're making a choice, I said you could write out, like if it's 3 things, and then see which one you're drawn to, and then pick it and then walk away. But you have to walk away. Whichever one you're working on, whether it's a multiple choice or you have to click buy, the key is in the walking away and doing something else. Okay. That's a big. Yeah. It doesn't work if we don't shift and bring new energy and essentially, walk away. That's the big thing in a pattern interrupt. You have to. We call it a competing phrase or competing action. You have to walk away, or you have to replace it with something another good thing is to do it when you're really busy, or you're running out to do errands, or you have to meet someone, and then it becomes, I know this stuff as a hypnotherapist. So, and I use it in my life. So then you go, oh my God, I can't do this. One other way that I learned this is my beautiful higher self, and I probably was even my guides, but I know for sure my higher self. When I would have things that were really important, and especially back in the day when I was doing a lot of TV stuff, and especially for being a psychic, and it could be a talk I was doing, or I was being on camera, and I was preparing, and I did everything, and then I would start getting nervous. And what would happen is there'd be traffic, or maybe I'm supposed to go on at 1:15, and then I get there, and they say, "Oh, good, you're here. We're running early. Let's go in." I'd be like, "Oh my God!" in my head, I'm like, and what I realized, it was my higher self all the time doing things so I couldn't overthink, and especially so that I need be that I could channel my higher self and not my ego, and or if it's guide work, I mean, I had that recently with this sound healing workshop I did with Grace. I couldn't believe it. I forgot one of the tech pieces. I can't even remember what it was. I forgot my computer. I need my computer to log on.
No.
Luckily, she lives near me, and then when I come back, I see all these like little alien faces saying "Welcome home." I mean, there was these signs for some reason on the telephone poles in her. Yeah, it was weird. I was like, I never saw those before. So I slowed down, and what was the interesting thing was I got to take an email from a client that's going through something with their father is in the part of transitioning, and I wouldn't have caught that. And they had also wanted to do the workshop. So, anyway, because I had to leave, and I was waiting, so then I got to do these things. So I slowed down going on the back, to her place to her studio. And I just stopped in my car and I said, okay, and I just started breathing. I said, I get it. I see where I'm being guided. I just have to let go and let the higher frequencies come in, be connected to my higher self. And there was specific work that I was doing with the oversouls and the spiritual hierarchy in this particular workshop, which, by the way, we're doing another one February 25th. If people are interested, email Michele at soulplayground.life, or you can go to courses, classes, events, whatever on the website. So that's why. So you're just going to give a pattern interrupt, Kate, so that you can connect to your higher self, so that you, so you can get the higher vibrational frequency of what's right for you. That's what this is about. So you're not living in the lower, right?
Right, the cycle of the brain, circling. Do you feel anything about this trip?
That's the second thing, and I got a scoot. So I think it's going to be good if you, I think it's going to be good if you let it be. Kind of relax. Yeah. Where are you going, by the way? Because I may be going.
It's the first time going to Ahihik, Lake Chapala, Ahihik.
Oh, Ahihik. Yeah, I've seen videos on it. Yeah. Nice. Nice. All right, Kate. Talk to you later.
Thank you. I'll keep this.
Okay, good. Bye. Hi, you're on air. Hello. Hi, you're on air. 209. Okay, I'll come back to you. Hi, you're on air. Welcome. Hello.
Hi there. Hi, this is Sonia. Hi, how are you?
Tanya?
Sonia.
Sonia.
With an
Hi,
S.
Sonia.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I've done a few private calls with you, and I have a quick question for you today. Kind of follow up on our previous.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Great. Yes, I can.
Okay. I'm outside. I was checking to see if you're getting any vibes or any readings on a potential property purchase for my business, and there was one I recently looked at, and I didn't know if you had any yay or nays.
That you're buying?
Yeah, for my business. I'm trying to see what.
Okay, you're trying. What are you trying to do now?
Just see if I should expand in renting or if I should purchase. And I looked at a few condo suites last week, and I'm getting confused. I thought I would check in with you.
Now I'm getting a weight. I got to wait psychically, and then I got to wait. Is there some consideration that's going on? What's the? I feel like there's something
I guess
else
so.
that's. Yeah, what is it? Because I feel like there's something else. What is the reason to wait? There might be something else. Okay, there's a lot with your work. Okay, there's a lot with work. Are you launching something else or starting something else?
Yeah, I'm starting a different type of service.
That's why.
And so I need more space, but yet I'm kind of straddling. I've always sort of straddled two locations, and last time we met, you were encouraged me to kind of branch out into this certain location. So I'm also thought that, and so I'm focusing some time investing in space to where to set up like a home base, and so I was just curious if purchasing, renting, staying where I'm at.
Well, I think rent. Okay, but you need more space where you are. What is coming up about the space? I'm almost feeling like it's also about you reaching out or into different groups, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Online or something. Yeah, there's something about you reaching out.
This service would be in person. It'd have to be. I'd have to be in person. So that's why I need to have a larger space, because I need to be in person.
Oh, people are going to come over.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a treatment.
Okay, it shows you're going to, but what I'm getting is somehow the timing is off or a little bit later. So there's something that you can do now. There's something that you can do now that isn't, and do that for a while. It may only be 3 or 4 months. And I do feel like the right place is going to come in for you. It may be through someone you know or some group. You may hear of something.
Oh.
But because when you move, you dilute energy. See, you've been building energy. When we move, it dilutes our energy. It scatters our energy. So I think they're just wanting you to garner or kind of consolidate what you're doing a little bit, and branch out more on your own, whether groups or online, in person. You extending out yourself, and then what you actually need is going to come in.
Mhm. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. Did that make sense?
Was helpful.
Good.
Yep.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
I'm like, what is this about? What is it? I'm like, because I psychically heard a no, and I'm like, okay, what does this mean? Then I threw the astro dice, and I got a no, and I got kind of the reason why. So, I'm glad you called in.
I did feel a little bit of a pause too, but I feel a push and then a pause, like a push and then a pause, and I sometimes worry, is that my fear, or is it
no,
is it my intuition? And so that makes sense. So,
sometimes our
that
intuition
makes sense to me 3 months from now. Like
you
were saying.
Well, sometimes it comes in as a fear. Like, fear is not a bad emotion. It's when we live chronically in fear. I mean, sometimes I get a little. The other day, I had a little fear flash. I was walking, to my friend's 2 little doggies. So I crossed the street. And the dog was growling, then growled at another dog that came around the corner. And I was like, I had that little flash. Would anything have happened? Maybe not, but I don't want to deal with the growly energy, and the woman didn't look like she could hold the dog. So I just don't want to deal with that,
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And that's hard sometimes to discern. Is it fear or intuition? And
holding you back.
I struggle with that. So, I sometimes I overthink things like the previous caller, and then you don't do anything.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: if you're overthinking, that's the ego. That's paralyzing. But because usually when we overthink, we're trying to justify why we're getting a no on something. Usually that's what it is, because a part of our mind is judging us, saying, you should do this, you should be ready, you should do that. But things in divine timing, our own individual timing don't always go that way. So sometimes what looks like procrastination is not really. Now, if you're living your whole life that way, that's a whole other thing, But a lot of times when we're uncertain or we get blocked from the universe, I call it, blocking, it's because the timing is off. Something else needs to come in. We need to experience something else, or we need to connect with someone that we don't yet know,
Right.
I know
support.
It's very interesting. Yes, support. It looks really interesting sometimes when people seem like they're jumping in. I remember one of the times I lived in Europe, I lived there for 3 years, and people were like, oh, you just jumped in, because it looked like that on the outside. But I'd actually gone and checked things out. I was winding things down. I came back. I lined up schools. I did all this stuff. So I really wasn't jumping. Now, on the outside, it may have looked like, oh, Michele just jumped and it was brave, but, I had a place to stay. I had a lot of things set up. Albeit in a short period of time, but everything fell into place. And so that's kind of another way that you can know. If it's not falling into place and you're feeling a no, you're feeling uncertain, then that's the message that it's not, it's not the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So kind of build up first, and then, and logically that makes sense. And that was, I think, part of my reservation. And, it's just, so just, one step at a time. That makes sense.
Yeah, okay. And I'm going to tell you, I've never seen, the higher self is very, very, on some level, practical. It really is. It gives us the steps, and it doesn't really force us to do anything before we're ready to. Really. Mm-hmm. Even if it seems like a jump, we've been thinking about it, So.
Yeah. I know. I've asked this question before to you, like years ago, and I just feel like I'm ready, but it's just like there's always like the next step, and so it's just timing. It's just divine timing.
It
but
is.
Right
it's
now
timing.
It's a pause. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're a lot closer. If you really look at it, because you only have 3-4 months, you're very close. It's just you have to consolidate a bit more, and it's about you branching out into other areas and other groups. That's the expansion right now is you. And so always, to some degree, when we expand our mind enough on our behavior and our habits, then our environment expands somehow.
Yeah.
So you want to meet your changes. You want to meet, because a lot of times people move someplace and they're not ready mentally. They're just doing because they need to, or they think they need to, and then they're like, oh, I don't know anybody here. Oh, I'm not. Things aren't aligned. Yeah, because they weren't aligned truly internally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're getting the right message, Sonia. You're getting the right message. All
Thanks
right.
for confirming
Talk
that.
To you later.
All right.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hi, you're on air. Hello. Hello. Whoops, did it go? Hi, you're on air.
Hello.
Hi, you're on air. Hi.
This is Athena. Michele, how are you?
Great. And what's your first name? I can't hear.
Athena.
Hi, Athena. Welcome.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking my call. So I had a question. So I feel like I'm in a place in my life where on my job as well as family, there's been a lot of stress and just betrayal. And it just kind of feels almost like I don't believe in roots, but I don't know if somebody put something on me just because the situations are super drastic. I don't know. I guess I'm asking, do you see anything where that might have happened, or?
Okay, so you think? What do you tell me?
Hello?
No, tell me what. Okay, you think somebody put a spell on you?
Yes. So I have betrayal in my family from a major situation, and it's almost like the same situation as occurred up in my job, but with, of course, different people. But it's severe betrayal, and so they kind of happened at the same time. And so I don't know if it's just something. If it's just a learning experience for me, and it's been about 2 years now, and I'm wondering if it could have been a spell, or if the universe is trying to teach me something that I'm just not getting.
Okay, it's a pattern, and spells can be, even words are spells. I think there's a word magic when we speak something into existence. But when we've had betrayal, especially family betrayal, especially primary caretakers, mother, father, one or both, siblings, that sets a pattern. Mm-hmm. So you really need to shift that pattern. You first have to understand that you come from that. So you have to make an effort to, not out of what's the word I want to say? Suspicion and, being paranoid of people, that just make sure you're not overdoing or overgiving. The other thing, I don't know if I had told you this before when you called in, but definitely doing my 5-step emotional clearing process. You can get it on soulplayground.life. Just the basic one you can copy and paste. I think it's either in Soul Path Tools, or you can do a search for it. But anyway, 5-step emotional clearing process, the basic, which you can get a lot out of that. If you want to do the advanced, then I should look on there. What is it under? I never look on there, so I don't know.
I'll find it.
Right, you'll find it. Okay, Soul Path Tools and
Soul Path Tools. Okay.
So if you want to buy, I don't know, it's 99 cents, whatever, for the recorded one. But if you want just the written one, that you can just copy and paste. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, and that will help you. But that's because we, like I said before, we are patterns, and here it is. Where is it? Yeah, Soul Path Tools. Yeah, we're patterns, and so we live and attract by certain patterning. But the good news is we can change the pattern.
Okay.
You just have to be aware that the pattern is there. Doesn't matter how it got there. Voodoo, boo boo. It doesn't matter. If the pattern is there, then we're going to attract that way. Because even if something happens and we've lived from that place for a while with that expectation, that sets in a pattern. So the best thing we can do is get rid of the pattern. That's it. You're not your pattern.
Yeah.
So you can get rid of it.
Exactly. Okay.
All right, Athena. Take care.
Wonderful. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hi, you're on air. Welcome.
Hello. It's Jacqueline.
Hey, Jacqueline.
Hi.
Jacqueline that I know.
Yes.
Donovan?
Hey,
Donovan.
Yes. Oh, yeah, he's in the back. Oh, he can't hear you.
It's the card lady.
That's the card lady, Michelle. He goes, oh. That's so funny because right before you picked up, I was thinking about exactly what I would ask you. So that's really weird.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So I'm working with a gentleman on a book, and it's getting there. We're almost there, and there's been he keeps coming back with more and more corrections, but there also seems to be some confusion on his end with documents and things we've talked about, and I'm like, I don't know, a couple things. I'm just worried is he is older. I'm just like, is this something that's happening? I mean, I don't even know if I can really ask this, but like, is there something going on with maybe dementia, like memory stuff, or some kind of substance getting in there?
I think you need to put stuff in writing and give it to people ahead of time. Have them read, end of story.
Yeah,
so that
it's not.
So
it's not even
clear.
that. It's he's almost getting confused on what's going on with the publisher. Like, we've spoken about the process, and he's basically we have to send a list of. Yeah, I sent a list of corrections to the publisher, and he decided he has more corrections, so he decided to do it in the previous manuscript where we're supposed to be doing it off the proof.
Oh, you know what I'm getting?
I was like, what?
It's because you're getting closer to publish. He's getting nervous.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, he's getting nervous.
He's like, oh, well, I just edited the document that the publisher sent us. I was like, she didn't send us a document. I said, okay, why don't you find it in your email and send it to me? Because I never got that. He's like, I can't find it. I'm like, because it didn't happen. You know what I mean? Like, things like that.
Yeah.
I think he's second-guessing himself.
Yeah.
Too. I don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, better than other stuff I was thinking. Because I started to get a little worried about other things happening. All right. Well, yeah, this is dragging out. I'm hoping this happens soon. Get published and done. Oh no.
To get let's see what's going on with him. I mean, there might be a little of the other, but I'm getting more nervousness. I'm really getting much more nerves with him. Yeah, okay. I'm getting much more.
Yeah, I'm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's what I'm getting.
That's good to know.
Yeah, good to connect. Yeah.
Good to connect with you too.
Yeah.
All right.
Keep me
Thank
posted
you.
on this.
Okay.
Bye.
I will. Bye.
Bye. Let's see. We got next. Anybody next? Hi, you're on air.
You know I love to be on air. How are you?
I thought it was you, Queen. Hello. How are you?
How are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm watching the chat just process. It's just the little circles going round and round. Can't get in the chat, so yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Well, you can chat with me. It be that way sometimes.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
My question is, my connection with AI in terms of creative process, I'm loving it. I really am.
Okay.
And I'm in the grocery store, so there's the sound, so I'll mute.
Okay. So what do you want to know? What is your question?
The openings available to me currently with my relationship with AI, I'm feeling a lot of things. With my creating with AI. Visually.
Okay, digitally, yeah. Okay, what I'm getting with you is that for you, anything that supports your creativity, your creative expression, because this is a very, you're coming into more creativity, more creating content, different kinds of content. I feel it could be visual, could also be with mantra or words, tone, sound, singing. So really just playing with that. So whatever you're drawn to, Queen, is, I feel, something that's going to augment what you've already been doing, and it's also going to open other doors of other avenues for you. So I would just say dance in the divine creation. Just dance in the divine. You're dancing with the divine. That's how I would look at it. All right. Big hug. Thanks for the call. Hi, you're on air.
Oh, hi. Lucky me.
Yes. What's your name?
My name is Jamie.
Hi, Jamie. Welcome.
Thank
What's your question?
Related to the extreme migraines I've been experiencing and having to support on a daily basis so they don't rev up. Really 10 years in the making. And I am told that I'm needing to do like parasite cleanse, and there's layers of mold and possibly Lyme internally that needs to be released. There's been a lot of work I've been doing in the last 2 years shamanically to release connections, and I'm tuning into spirit and my guides daily. What do you have to share that could support and release that pattern?
What would you like to know? What's your question?
What is the most important thing I should be doing to release the migraine pattern?
Okay, let's see. Boy, it's really hard to hear you, or connected your energy with there's something in the background. Wind and...
Hey, I'm flying. Okay, please. Thanks a lot. Okay, here I am.
Yeah, it's still... Okay. They've gotten better, right? There definitely is a lot of pressure. I'm also getting it in the neck. I do feel some of it is physical. There's a physical component also. So I don't just feel that it's, environmental. I definitely do feel that there's a physical component. Without doing a deeper, dive, since I do see our guests coming on. So I would definitely have that checked out or work on the neck and in the occipital area also. That whole area gets very jammed up. So it could also be something structural, or it could be, where you drive, how you read, if you're putting your neck. I don't know, but that whole area I'm getting definitely even inflamed. So anything for you, like I'm actually getting like softer stuff, like craniosacral, or stretching, or being like on a neck block, a neck stretcher, where you just lay your neck down to help with alignment. Things like, definitely fresh air does help you. I was going to say aromatherapy, but I can see you're sometimes sensitive to scents.
Very.
Yeah, okay, so that's why they're saying no. But even just stretching, movement, obviously meditation, but I'm getting more, instead of sitting meditation, more lying down meditation, and really supporting the small of the back and the neck, the nape of the neck into the occipital area. So I feel if you bring that in with the other things that you're doing, that could be very beneficial for you. All right, sweetie, keep us...
Thank you so much.
Okay, good. Big hug, Jamie. Take care. All right, gang, time for our Awakening Dialogue. We have Suzanne Anderson with us, founder of Mysterial Women, and also the Mysterial Leadership Emergence Program, which actually begins really soon, I think February 18th, but we'll be diving into that. Hey, Suzanne, how are you doing?
Hi, Michelle. Good, thank you. Yeah.
Good. So, let's just dive in. What is, I'm very intrigued, Mysterial Woman? You're the founder of this, and then you have a Leadership Emergence Program. I want to know a little bit about you too. But I'm curious of how this got birthed, this Mysterial Woman.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you a bit of a sense of that. We actually spoke 4 years ago, you and I. So many things have changed since then, probably in your life and in mine.
Were you doing Mysterial
No, I was
Woman?
actually doing this work, but I hadn't completed the.
That's what I thought.
But I hadn't completed the book.
Okay.
The new book that's coming out. The
new
book
one. Okay.
Yeah.
What was the first book?
So the way of the Mysterial Woman, upgrading how you live, love, and lead.
Okay, that's coming. That's the one. That's the current one. Oh, that was the first.
That's the one that's out already, and the one that's coming out. And I can give you a little sense of the connection here because it sort of probably gives us a topic to dive into. The new one is called You Make Your Path by Walking, a transformational field guide through trauma and loss.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
I love that. By
so,
walking.
Right.
Well, that's true.
Basically, the place that I find myself in terms of where I'm called to serve is, I think of it as guiding or coaching women who are awakening to the next level of consciousness and are ready to really be a stand in the world for these new ways of being that I think are trying to come online now as a sort of evolutionary imperative. And we're being kind of called by these complex times to be a match for them. So, there's just, I was just talking to someone yesterday who was considering entering into our program that starts this Saturday, as you said. Yeah, it starts very soon. And the feeling that a lot of women are experiencing, I would say globally, but certainly if you're what I would call an awakening Mysterial, it's the sense of being unsettled and like something is shaking up and you don't know exactly what it is, and you have a longing for something that's, a sense that something else is trying to unfold through you, but you can't quite get there. You're kind of stuck in this, what I call habitual way of being. Mm-hmm. And that sense of the suffering, the sort of combination of the momentum and the tension, the suffering and the longing is so common. And so many women, and you probably experience this when you engage with people, that so many women can feel they've done something wrong, or I don't know, they're making a mistake, or they shouldn't feel like this, and I've worked so hard in my life, and here I am, and I'm in a successful job even, or I'm my adult relationship, and I have my children, and why do I have this deep sense of longing for something more? And I think that's actually the evolutionary call, like this deep soul force that's sort of the deep feminine, you could say, nudging us to pay attention. So that's where I am in the work that I do.
I like that, the nudge. I call it sometimes the nudge itself, the nudge or the urge. Mm-hmm. And I do believe it does start with a either a restless stirring, some called divine discontent, or this nudge, or that there's something more that is happening, but we can't yet see it or define it. So it's very visceral, usually, which that's why a lot of people miss it.
Well, exactly. It can be very subtle, but then sometimes, what I'm seeing more and more is that the outer. What did Jung say? Something like, that which you don't address in terms of the unconscious directly will come and find you as fate. So often there will be circumstances that just say, wake up, and if we, and this is what the second book is about, how can we live through the disorienting times, which these are in general, let's just say, even if you don't have that personally, it's just they are in general. How can we live through these times as a sort of, I don't know, alchemical brew in which we can really grow and become rather than regress backwards? And that's my interest. That's the work that I do.
Mm-hmm. I think sometimes, too, we call it in. I know I have myself, and I've witnessed it with other people, is that we, and I will even ask for that. Sometimes an external situation helps precipitate something. And, of course, if there's consciousness and awareness there, a lot of times that's that opening, or sometimes it feels like a schism, but whatever is called in can be very beneficial, very helpful, because it helps us make a decision, or where we haven't been able to make a decision, or know a pathway. It gives us something tangible to say, oh, I see why this is happening, or oh, this route is better than the other route I was thinking of. I think people not to underrate that, but you can call in your changes if you feel something coming, and it is subtle, right? You may want to make it more. I know sometimes I do. I want to make it more tangible, so I have sometimes less work in a way.
Well, I think the main thing, I guess, or my deep belief and experience is that as women, we are in the midst of being asked by evolution itself to make a developmental move to literally grow again. Like, as we've had 5,000 years of a masculine model of wholeness, which wasn't necessarily wrong. It's what it was. But it also is not sufficient right now to meet the complexity of these times. And so this need to grow is often, because often there's a sense of, I just want to feel a little bit better. Let me just fix this little thing. And I call that rearranging the deck chairs on the sinking Titanic. It's like, we're really being asked to make a profound inner upgrade. And I've seen it. This is the work I do with women, and we do in our deep programs together. It is really get to be a match for these times, and it means you have to welcome discomfort.
Yeah,
right. You have to welcome the almost the destabilizing, or what's actually happening right now. The ways there's so few women I meet, at least the kind of women I meet, probably because of the work I'm in. Things are shaking up in ways, and if you can be with that shaking up in a more proactive way, which is some of what you're suggesting, then I think that the lead has the possibility to transform into gold. The alchemy can occur, and that is I have been seeing these profound new ways of being showing up in women who are doing that work. I mean, really having this multidimensional knowing coming in now, not just as a weird thing that I kind of have this intuition or the kind of downloading you're able to do, but that actually we can cultivate these capacities. And how do you do that? And how do you get access? For example.
It's interesting. It is learning how to harness this awareness and utilize it without being paralyzed by it. Like what does this mean? Where is this coming from? But how to, and I think that just also takes consistency. Trial and error, using, and then getting to know that part of yourself that, okay, this means this. This is this message. This is this directive, or kind of with your Mysterial aspect. It's really harnessing the mystery, aligning to the mystery. I mean, it's there to be used.
Yeah, absolutely. This is
right.
Absolutely, that is the being with the mystery is a central piece of the work I feel for us right now as women to be. The mind when the conditioned mind just wants certainty, and certainty is just more of the same, only slightly different. So really to be able to welcome the uncertainty, the ambiguity, without it freaking us out, and with sort of the welcome of what's coming now. Yes, I might have to let go of this, but what if I'm held in something so much larger, kind of unfolding of the friendly universe, where I could rest into that a little bit.
Yeah. And I think what you're saying, Suzanne, you have to go there, however you want to look at it, the mystery, the quantum, whatever wording or whatever language, to get through these times. You have to go there. It's a deeper purpose, higher purpose. You have to extend into that. Otherwise, there isn't enough really to get through. Because things are changing so much. That. But I think if people could do that, I think that's a really good point. If people could every now and then just stretch to that understanding, then, it's like a startup. It's like you have this great idea and you have a belief in it, but always in the beginning, you're fired up. In the middle, it doesn't. How's this going to work? Doesn't make sense. You start having all this questioning. But if you have that vision, if you can connect to that reason why or that vision, of something more, even if you don't see it yet. That can really,
or if
people.
You can't see, you might be able to see it, but you can't see how to get there. And
how
that's
to get
the
there,
thing.
yeah.
It's like it's okay if you can't see how to get there, because if you're really seeing, and this is where the title of the second book is really, that's what it's pointing toward. Because for me, I was getting ready to come out and publish my first book. We'd spent 10 years doing research in our university programs, kind of figuring out this path for women to awaken to this next level of their feminine and masculine strength. And we'd finished that at the end of 2012, and we were starting to look for a publisher. And then in early 2013, on January the 3rd, actually, my husband took his life. And, I was getting ready to go up and out with my new book. And
I remember that now, yes.
Yeah. And in fact, life said, no, you'll go the other way. And it has been... The second book is really about the journey of living through that, basically everything that was in my life and within 6 months was gone, all the outer structures. And I was determined from the very beginning to, I didn't know if I'd get through it for sure. I had, I didn't have that level of heroic certainty, but I did know that I would walk in the way of the Mysterial woman. And if that got me through, then I would know this really is a way of being that can hold up in the worst that life can throw at you. And the second book is sort of, therefore, and it comes out in June, it is about that journey. So it's a memoir, but also kind of guidebook, because it's how did I make my path by walking? How did I let the breaking open be a breaking through to more of my true nature and allow my service in the world to really expand in ways I could never have imagined. But to go back to where we started this little thread, I held an image of a possible future, and that's a big piece that we do in the work in terms of connecting women to their deep desire and starting to let the images activate the imaginal part of our nature. But how I would get there, I had no clue.
Yeah.
I really couldn't see it. I mean, I really couldn't see it. And it unfolded. And even whether I would write a book, and when we last talked, I hadn't, I think I was just writing at that point, but I certainly didn't know if it would be a book to give to others at that point. And that just became apparent once it got down on paper. I realized, okay, I needed to write it first of all to be a healing for myself, to sort of write myself back together. But then my editor read it and said, you've got to make this into a book. It will be helpful for others. So that's what I did.
Especially for these times, and because I do love, you make your path by walking, and it is one step. Sometimes I always say there's sometimes exponential leap, but they all start with a step, and it is sometimes literally just getting up and walking and seeing where you go and what comes to your mind. I know I've done that quite a bit. It's just that, well, the other thing too that I've noticed kind of doing this work, and it bears out, is that we're constantly in this emerging. So if we are living truthfully and authentically, there's this emergence. So we don't necessarily know. I mean, there's a part of us, obviously, we call higher self, whatever, whatever that part, there's so many names for it. But the ego, the personality, doesn't know, the part that's walking the steps. We can't yet imagine how we're getting somewhere. And sometimes even where we're going. We have an idea, but, it could be slightly different or very different. So I like that concept that you're saying about you make your path by walking. I think it brings it back to something that's very tangible, because that rational mind wants to map it all out mentally. And it just,
absolutely.
I don't know, right? It wants to, and there's so many twists and turns, and I think that's what you're saying, because sometimes what happens when we're too locked into how something has to be or has to unfold or manifest, then we do, by our very own higher nature, call in within the tarot. They call tower moments. The extreme can happen to kind of unplant us from, what's become a less mutable and more rigid map. And that's
absolutely. Well, I call this
right. What do you call?
Yeah, I call this capacity, and this is what we had started to see emerging in women. At the end of the first book, we had, in the last chapter of the book, I had identified these 8 different meta capacities, and one of them is called Unfolding the Emergent. And there's a chapter in the book on this. And you know what I'd love to do is just to read. This is an invocation I wrote because I think your readers might find it helpful. Because these, in a way, I think all of these new ways of being are actually trying to come online right now. I mean, they are trying to come online, but we need to do the work to clear from the old codes that are deep down in the DNA to have them come online. So I'll just read this, and then women can feel this part of their own nature awakening. Okay?
Yeah.
It's and if you're somewhere where you can close your eyes and just let these words, sort of imagine yourself basically as a woman on the edge of evolution who is unfolding the emergent. And this is what it would be like. Everything, every single thing unfolds in the grace of time. You remove what blocks the flow and gasp in delight at what is revealed before your innocent eyes. Visualizing your clear desire out ahead in the future, you surrender to how you journey there, following the path seen and then not seen. You walk hand in hand with the mystery. Parts of you travel far ahead of your fears, willing to not know, to pay attention to signs and signals, to let some things go and others emerge, to be surprised by life. What moves you comes from the heart of wonder. Not a stranger here on this good earth. You are a co-creator, unfolding a world of beauty and possibility. Unfolding the emergent. So if your listeners are taking that in, maybe they can just feel this possibility waking up inside.
Yeah.
And of course, the capacities that have to come online for that. But we don't have a lot of models that show us this is actually a valid way of being. More than valid. It's finally a match for the time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and I think why it's new emerging consciousness. It's new. It's different, and even I like you said earlier about the inner masculine and feminine, because if you study, even when we had a matriarchal society, that wasn't, toxic free, so to speak. That was not healthy either, right? Pre-patriarchy.
No.
So something
no, in fact,
new.
It was in the first book, totally new. Then in the first book, we go into that, the research basically of the pattern over time, but the first wave.
I learned that in college. That's why when people are all, we need to go back to, and I'm like, actually, if you do the research, they were not so evolved either. What do you surmise with this?
We're actually, this is a movement forward, but the thing that's needed now, then from that, 50,000, 60,000 years, 50 probably more likely, of, there was this big wave of the matriarchy phase, but then the healthy impulse that the masculine brought in started to actually grow us, both our consciousness, our capacities, our ways of being together. And all that's, we've gone through all the various waves if you look through history and time from, now we're coming on the other side of the postmodern wave. But, there's something new trying to come in, but it's not going to be about going back to just the Great Mother. But the Great Mother must be included. So it is actually the feminine, healthy feminine needs to get brought online now, and that's the work that we do, and the healthy masculine has to come online, and that's the work that we do. And we discovered, and that's the first book, The Way of the Mysterial Woman, is the research around the way the feminine and masculine co-arise in a polarity, and that we have to actually clear both. Well, when we do that work, then this inner sacred marriage takes place, what Jung started pointing toward in the turn of the 20th century. Something else trying to come online. And that's what I call mysterial, because I didn't have a word to describe this kind of something else when the feminine and the masculine come together in women today.
It's the, I like that, the mysterial. The conjunctio, that sacred, which is said to be the Holy Grail, is said to be that divine masculine and divine feminine. That so let's talk about that. So it's newly emerging. It's new. It's not what's emerging is not what we had years ago. It definitely has a different qualities, nuance, bits of the old, but there is this there are differences. What is your sense of it or take of what you've been experiencing and seeing?
Of what's trying to emerge now?
The qualities of it, because I think a lot of people, and again, I guess that's just the, rational mind, the logic mind, is we go back to what we knew and say, well, it must be this, or it X's this out. But what are some of the qualities that you're seeing, whether within yourself, people you're working with, society, and how can people connect to some of these qualities within themselves and nurture them into more consistent existence?
Yeah, right. Well, that is the great question to be asking, because that's what we need to be doing right now. Yeah. And that actually, the first book, we wrote it with a lot of practices in it, so people could, if they weren't able to do programs with us, they would be able to just get practices right away and start doing it. So what I'll say is each one of the archetypes in this developmental pathway that we discovered, that for women is the pathway basically of awakening to this next level of ourselves, it starts with the mother archetype. So it means coming into connection with the parts of ourselves where we come back into our enoughness, into our bodies, into our sufficiency, into our kind of grounded presence. And this is super important, because I think with the development of some of the ways that information can move and our mind's capacity to see way out in the future, we can get in a kind of bypass of the wisdom of the body, or even a spiritual bypass where we just want to go up and out, but we don't come down and into the wisdom that's in the body. So, that happens in the mother archetype. Like, how do you really do that? And how do you transition from the limiting code of I am not enough to I am enough just as I am? And then the hero is the next archetype in the sequence, and that's the healthy masculine when it's online. You know what is yours to do. You have the capacity to set clear boundaries and to, have the discipline to stay with the things that matter to you, the agency to make things happen in the world. But the old code running there after 5,000 years in a patriarchy is I have to do to be of value. So that just keeps us doing, and often the very wrong things. And then the next masculine archetype, so it's the mother, the hero, then it goes to the father archetype. And the father archetype is that when we're in it, we access it in a healthy way, we know our belonging and we sort of feel our own sovereign presence in our world. We can take a stand for the things that matter for us. But when we're operating on the limiting code, which is I do not belong, then we have this collapse of either just pulling to be an outsider, then I can't really make a difference in the world, or just going along with what everybody else is doing and feeling you can't change anything. And then the other end of that masculine archetypal energy is a dynamic feminine energy we call the maiden energy. And culturally that came in, and we write about this in the book, in around the 60s. That sort of, the cultural revolution happened where burning the bra, feminism, back to the land, sexual revolution, and all of that was going on at that time. And the maiden is really about, in its healthy expression, it is, hey, I have a voice, and I'm meant to be using it in a creative way. But when you got the old code running, it's, I'm not safe to express myself, and so we shut our voices down. But all of that is then to prepare for the crone, which is the meta capacity that I feel is trying to come in now in culture. And this is part of this new wave that some people call the integral wave. But definitely the crone has tried to come in before in culture, and it wasn't its time yet. It's a whole other quantum level of wisdom, love, and power that we're able to actually bring in. But if we don't have that, the healthy archetypes that are downstream from it, the ones I just said, then we're operating with, I don't have enough knowledge, I don't have enough influence, I don't have enough connections. Someone else must know how to deal with this. I don't. I'm not the one that can make a difference. So those are just give you a sense of the feminine and masculine, the ways though those energies might show up as we do the shadow work deep in the unconscious to unhook from the old code.
One thing I really kind of beep on that you're saying is the body. It seems if we look, most general doctrines or more mainstream religions, all sect, not just Western, even Eastern, the body was kind of exiled, like you were saying. The spiritual bypass, it's punitive to be on Earth. Let me get out of here. And it does seem to be, and at least that was one of the messages that I had received from the guides, was that the body is critical because it's about imbibing and embodying this new emerging consciousness. So it is about the
100%,
body,
100%.
the embodiment. Yeah, so that seems to be, and you mentioned
that's what we're here for. We're here to embody. We're here to be. That's what it means for a woman to be on the edge of evolution, I believe, is that we are literally waking up our consciousness. And that isn't just a mental thing. That's an embodied experience where we have, we are bringing that energy in for the generations to come, because, it's going to be very, I would say, in a lot of different ways I receive information from other realms, I'd say it's over the next 2-3 years, we're really going to be downloading. We're getting our instruments capable, of being able to download a lot more. Mm-hmm.
That's also with
and
the
that's
body.
What you're doing. That's what you do.
Yes, but you're right. We're getting our instruments ready. But the instruments that we are. Now, would you say that this would also have to do with Gaia, Pachamama, Mother Earth? That it's also changes within the earth, or more awareness within that obviously within our physical body, and I even feel the physiology of our bodies. But would you say this also would have to do with Earth itself? Do you look at that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think we're all we are Gaia. We are part of this beautiful, beautiful living being. And that's the problem. We don't see that, of course. We see ourselves as these separate little egos up on the surface of the earth, ping-ponging around. But when you really do drop down and in, you recognize your feet are on the ground. And the Great Mother is wanting to support you. She does all the time. The arms of gravity, are holding you already here. And that support from the Pachamama is there to the degree that we will open, be receptive. And that's the great, beautiful yin field, the receptive feminine, that I think we absolutely have to awaken in ourselves as women right now.
And maybe that's the part of the feminine brings in as well, is that awareness of that and living with that. And boy, I can really feel the energy through you, Suzanne. You're really imbibing this energy and embodying it. Yeah, drinking it in. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. What a great path that you're walking. Let us know how to connect with you. Yeah, it is a path. Let us know how people can connect with you, what you have going on, and you're always welcome to come back. This has been wonderful. I think you've given some great insight and understanding, and you have some amazing tools. Even just the concept of your book, You Make Your Path by Walking. I think that's like, okay. That's like,
right. Yeah. Okay,
right? It's
that's
so,
exactly right. That's the place to start.
Yeah, it's okay.
There's a whole expression of, we learning to see in the dark, and that is, as opposed to there's someone else who's done a path, and you're just going to follow someone else. It's like, no, you will learn to see in the dark, and you will make your path, but you have to be willing to take that step, as you said earlier. So. If people want to take a step toward the work that I'm doing, that I will mention the Emergence program, because it's always interesting. This is our 15-month journey, crucible, basically, for women who are really ready to accelerate awakening and are just done with being stuck and being done with some of the ways of being, and that is launching Saturday. So that's mysterialwoman.com, MYSTERIAL woman.com is my website, and then you'll see a link to the program page itself. And at this point, because there are only a few spots left, and it's sort of I always think the circle itself is calling in the remaining women, and I just did already 2 calls today. So if you think this could be for you and you have a resonance, go read the program page, watch some of the testimonial videos, and then email me pronto at Suzanne at mysterialwoman.com, and we'll set up an exploration call to follow that up. So you've got my website. You can get my book, the first book, The Way of the Mysterial Woman, Upgrading How You Live, Love, and Lead. And these are all on Amazon or Bookshop, wherever you buy your books. And the second one coming out in June, you can pre-order now. It's called You Make Your Path by Walking. I'm on Instagram, Mysterial Woman. I have a public figure page, Mysterial Woman. And I also have a Mighty Networks community page that you can, a community space where I do things, and you can find out all about that on my website. So I think that's it, and I appreciate the chance. It's great to reconnect with you again. I'd forgotten. Yeah. I enjoy so much the field of our exploration together.
Yes, me as well. I mean, I'm still just, godsmacked over the title. You Make Your Path by Walking. I mean, I think that message really needs to get through. I remind myself of that. Like, you just have to walk, Michele. Just go. Just do the step in front. And I think, my God, that's going to make things so much more, so much more palatable for people, and also easier. Just kind of bringing it
it's
back.
One step. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
You literally, what I still do every morning, and maybe I know we probably have to close now, but I would get up in the morning first thing after when David died and my whole world fell apart. I would swing my legs around and put my feet on the floor and say, I am so grateful for my embodiment. And may my steps through this day be a blessing in the world. And I still do that. I didn't know what I would do, how the day would go, but that I'm here in this body, able to step and can make a difference in my own soul's journey and in the experience of those who work with me, that I commit to. And that's really it. And then you let the next step show itself to you.
Yeah.
And you let the next step show itself to you.
Let the next, let the next come. Yeah. Because it will. But I think what I hear you saying is sometimes too much forethought. It's too much for us, especially when we have a lot going on or just in the world today.
Well, you
too
can't.
Much.
No, and even
you can't
even trauma. Yeah. You can't. You've lost the prefrontal. That ability to plan. It's gone. You have to be in the moment. But the beautiful thing about that, and of course, that's come back. Some of that ability for me now to be able to vision and see further than I could then. But the beautiful thing is that it did, firmly put me in the present moment, because that's the place. That's why we have to be in the body. We miss so many things that are actually trying to show themselves to us. Like the next step is trying to show itself to us. But we're too busy somewhere else. We're not there. We're not present.
Yeah, because we're thinking about where it's coming from, and it's that's the problem. We're thinking and it's in the wrong. Yeah, we're going in the looking in the wrong direction or wrong area sometimes, or just it's right there showing itself. Oh, Suzanne, this has been wonderful. I feel very refreshed talking to you. I feel really good. So thank you for that.
Great. Well, I do too.
Yeah.
Thank you for this opportunity to be with you and your wonderful audience out there.
Thanks. Well, I know you're in a wonderful flow, so be well and be in touch. And I've truly enjoyed our time together. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I feel good, gang. How do you feel? Feel good. And I'm glad she admitted about the early matriarchy. We can't go back to matriarchy. Can't be in the blame game either. This is new, emerging. It's new. It's different and new. All right, Radiant Soul Lights, thanks for being here. And as always, continue to shine that bright light of yours. Share your insights and, of course, keep awake. I'm getting woke and staying woke.
Awakenings broadcasts every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Pacific Time. Archive shows available on iTunes. For continued awakened conversations and insights, join the Awakenings group on Facebook. And check out Michelle's blog at soulplayground.com. And keep awake.